All right, so here's the truth about growing your email list, which is that most agencies, most performance marketers will make a suggestion that you should grow your email list in some capacity. In fact, any full stack agency is probably going to tell you this. The issue with growing your email list is how are you actually going to go and achieve this? Well, number one, you can go and achieve it through actual purchases. So people buy from you and then they end up on your email list and then you can remarket to them over time, which is fantastic because this is an existing customer. The best method to get returning customers is through direct communication channels with them. So perfect. That is the whole point in email. Option number two is that they could have hit an add to cart or an initiate checkout. Now, also a great audience to retain and capture. They're super high intent. They look to buy. You're obviously going to push them straight into an abandoned cart flow. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Option number three, they're going to fill out the pop-up form on site. Now, pop-up forms are great for a number of different reasons. A side note is that you can use pop-up forms to gauge the intent of traffic on site. And so it ends up being a really good predictor of future purchasing behavior when you ramp up budgets or when you add in a new acquisition channel, etc. An example of that is you could go and add TikTok ads in. If you go and add TikTok ads in, but your pop-up form submission rate doesn't maintain or the actual number increases, then the quality of that traffic is terrible. And so it gives you a really easy indicator of the quality of traffic, which is kind of a side note, but still worth noting that these people are relatively high intent. The latest data I saw on this, I think, is that 66% of people through a pop-up form will end up buying anyway. So a pop-up form doesn't necessarily lead to the conversion, but it's a nice way to capture some first-party data and obviously continue to remarket to these users. So these are your main ways that you grow a really high-intent email list. And then what will then happen is a full stack agency will come in and say, well, because this works so well, you acquire all of these emails and the repeat purchase rate and the amount of revenue generation off the back of these is incredible. Why don't we just do more of this? Why don't we just go and get a bunch more people on your email list and then you can obviously just go and make more money? And so there's a few suggestions. Suggestion number one is run a subscription campaign on Meta. You're going to have to apologize for this terrible scribbling here. This is a terrible idea. The quality of subscriptions that you get natively within the platform on Meta is shocking. So option number two is that you can also get subs, but you can do it on a dedicated lander. And so rather than trying to capture email addresses and phone numbers through a native form fill within the Meta platform, which is just going to give you so many subscriptions for 50 cents to $1 a subscription, but it's just going to inflate your Klaviyo cost. You'll never see any conversions out of the back of them. Instead, you can drive people off platform, to a landing page where you then capture on that landing page. For example, this would be similar to in lead generation where you have lead magnets and you have a squeeze page, you grab the first party data so you can remarket to them and then they get access to whatever's on the other side of that wall. This is a lot better. The quality of leads that you get through here actually convert. However, your cost per subscription is going to go through the roof because you're pushing people off platform, which immediately drives up CPMs, and you're going to have a drop-off rate on that landing page, depending on how convincing the offer is. And you don't really want to make the offer too convincing or else you're going to lose a lot of margin. Option number three is you can do giveaways. And so you can do a giveaway of hopefully something relevant to your individual product. We actually have a video on giveaways that I recommend going and finding on the channel where we managed to drive a 7 incremental ROI on a client using giveaways. And so this is a really good strategy. It just has to be done right. And it's often not done correctly. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then number four is you can do some kind of activation. And this is a really broad category that I'm putting in here, but this is ultimately your fourth option. So this could be some kind of new product launch where you're getting subscribers to build up to that product launch. It could be an actual in-person event that you're doing, and so you're garnering first-party opt-ins that you can then use in your email list down the line. And so these are really the main ways in which you're getting subscribers onto the list. These are going to be the most high intent. They're going to drive 80 to 90% of revenue when it comes to email marketing. And then these can drive $0 in revenue if they're done wrong. And if they're done right, they'll drive 10 to 20%. And so these aren't some kind of unicorn magical solution to be able to scale up an e-com brand. It's not some arbitrage opportunity that currently exists, but it is a good additional strategy that you can layer in that has incrementality in it. So when we're talking about subscriptions through Meta, immediate recommendation is never do this. I've never seen it work. The second it does work, I'll make a video on it and I'll case study it. Number 2 is subscribers straight to a landing page. If you're going to do this, you need, number 1, you need really cheap clicks to the site. So you really want to have your CPCs under 50 cents. And then you want your opt-in rate on the website to be 60% or above. And that's then going to allow you to have about $1 cost per leads. Now, what you then need to monitor here, and this is the exact same math and the same logic that you need to run through for the activations and the giveaways. And it sounds so simple, but literally no one does this, which is why I'm making a video on it. If everyone did this, it wouldn't be on the YouTube channel. Is that from here, you then need to tag all of these users in Klaviyo or in whatever your ESP is, and you need to track whether these people actually buy. And so you run this at a low budget to start, and you might go and just capture 300 leads, right? And so you go and spend $300 on this campaign. Maybe you just do it over the course of a month, just sits there dripping in the background. And then you track these leads to go, well, how many of these purchased? Did they go into a dedicated flow that was built to incentivize a purchase? And let's say one person actually bought. All right, well, the math is obviously really easy in this case because that means we have a $300 CPA. Now, if we're selling a $100 product, $200 product, this is unbelievably unprofitable, and this is not a good exercise. Now, does that mean that you can go and throw this out and not try it again? No, you could, if you improve everything by 10 to 20% through this funnel, you can actually get this to work. And so if you can make the ads slightly more convincing and you can drop your CPCs down to 30 cents, and I know that these numbers look crazy to those that just run straight to PDPs and try to get conversions like that, but you can get incredibly cheap CPCs if you're running lead magnets or just subscriber-based ads, even within a conversion-based campaign. It works incredibly well. And then let's say you can get your conversion rate on site up to 65%. Now that's really the highest that you'll ever get. At 70% is probably the maximum. But what that's then going to result in is 46 cents CPCs. Now, just to round this and make the math easy for the sake of this video, that's then going to take your CPL down to 50 cents. And so it's not much of an improvement. It's a slight improvement in opt-ins. It's a slight improvement on CTRs. And you've got your CPLs down now to 50 cents. And so now this exact same scenario, your CPAs have dropped to 150. Still probably not profitable, not an exercise you want to do, but all we have to do then is look at this issue right here. And so your conversion rate of subscription to purchase is currently in a really poor position. And so how can we improve this subscription to purchase? Number 1, we want to look at the continuity of the offering on the front end that's actually getting the lead to submit, and then what the upsell or the cross-sell is post-subscription. So what are we giving away for free? And then why is that then not converting into an actual purchase? There might be an issue there. Number 2, we're simply following up with these people enough. If we get this subscription, we should be hitting these people with emails until they unsubscribe, because we're going to have to clean these people off the list anyway. When you do a list clean every quarter or every half a year, whenever you want to pull your Klaviyo fees down, you remove any inactive subscribers that have not purchased from you. And so these people are going to get deleted regardless. And so we may as well send them as many emails as possible to try to convert them through this offering so that we can actually get this into a position that makes sense. And so we might have been following up with a 3-step flow email, which might have had all kinds of issues in it. So we might not have had a convincing enough offer. We might not have educated enough around the product. We might not have had enough social proofing. There all kind of issues. And we're not an email marketing agency, but this is just basic 101 following up with a lead that's been acquired. And so you want to make sure you fix all of them. Ideally, you're with a competent marketing agency, ideally not a full stack marketing agency, and they're going to be able to craft you a really good flow here. And then once the flow ends, make sure that these people push into just your regular emails as well, so they continue to get emails. And through that, maybe get this up to 2. And 2 people buy. Still terrible. That's a sub 1% subscription to purchase rate. But okay, you're in an okay position there. What does that do? That then takes your CPA down to $75. Now, you might have $75 in gross profit on your average first purchase, so you're now at break even on acquisition. So you have just discovered a new way to acquire customers at break even that is outside direct response marketing to PDPs or direct response shopping campaigns through Google. And so you've essentially unlocked another channel here. Now, is this an incredibly scalable channel that will maintain efficiency at volume? Not that I've seen, okay? It's very hard to crank a channel like this through e-commerce to really massive heights. Now, through B2B lead gen, this thing can be cranked to hundreds of thousands of dollars in spend a month. And this is the only funnel that you really run. And the reason for that is because, number one, you can afford for CPAs to go a lot higher in high-ticket B2B lead gen. And then number two is that the purchasing decision window and the education piece is much larger. And so people in e-com are buying a $100 skincare product, and there might be a bit of education. Okay, these are the value propositions, and that's it. There's nothing too complex. But if someone is deciding whether to come on board at Blue Sense, they're going to do their due diligence, as that is going to be an expensive exercise. And so they're going to go and watch the YouTube videos. They're going to subscribe. They're probably watching this video right now. They're going to go to the Instagram. They're going to go to the website. They're going to read through everything. They're going to get an understanding of who we are, what we do, why we're separate within the market. And then they might come through and actually buy. And so you can actually afford a much longer lead nurturing process within lead generation, which is what makes this whole process applicable. And that's why that's where this idea comes from in the first place. This type of acquisition model wasn't built for e-com. It was built for high ticket B2B lead gen. And then it's been cross-translated and applied to e-commerce, but none of the due diligence of managing the pipeline flow of CPC to conversion rate, to then sub to purchase rate. This is all monitored very closely within any B2B funnel. Okay, you should know all of these numbers off the back of your hand, and the moment one of these drops, you know how to exactly troubleshoot it. In e-commerce, none of these are tracked, and it's often because e-commerce agencies don't know this kind of acquisition model, and so they don't know how to troubleshoot these figures, and they just treat it like an e-com ad, which is, oh, we'll just drive people to the lander and the rest will take care of itself. We'll get the first-party data, they'll buy eventually. No, they won't. If it was that easy, everyone would do it. This takes a lot of action, takes a lot of effort, and that's why also this honestly isn't really worth the squeeze unless you're doing some proper revenue. If you're doing 10, 20, 30K a month in revenue, this is not going to do anything. This might add $500, $1,000 a month to your revenue. And the amount of time that it takes to actually continue to stay on top of this and troubleshoot the metrics and make sure it keeps working at scale, it's not even worth the return. Now, once you're in the 8-figure range, something like this and setting up this kind of funnel can actually be quite profitable and can have enough of a monetary dollar delta to outweigh all of the effort and time and effort that goes into actually setting this up. But I just want to make this video about the truth about growing your email list, because you'll get a lot of this propaganda, which is that you should run these giveaways, you should run activations, you should run subscription form fill campaigns within Meta to get as many subscribers as you can, put them on your email list, because your email list, look, it makes you $500,000 a month. It makes you $250,000 a month. So if we can just get more people on that email list, you will make more money. Rob, the reason why your email list makes so much money is because you have a bunch of super high intent people on that list who have bought from you before or demonstrated extremely high intent to a pop-up form or an add to cart or initiate checkout. Going and putting a bunch of low intent users who have no intent of buying with you and just captured some kind of irrelevant offer, these people aren't going to drive monetary returns, and this is just going to be a waste of ad spend. And so if you are going to do it, you want to make sure you do it right, and you follow this system, you monitor all these metrics, you back propagate the math. What CPA do you need? Okay, then what subscription to purchase rate does that mean? What CPL does that mean? And therefore, what CPC and conversion rate on the website does that mean?